Testing 1, 2. Just sliding out of work today, and I saw Dead in Hip Hop make a pretty good video on whether or not rappers should kind of retire or just kind of fizzle out. And I don't know if you guys remember, in a response video I made a couple weeks back in regards to Fantano's ghostwriting video, I mentioned how I felt if an artist felt their creativity or their drive was kind of waning or kind of leaving them, then it would be reasonable for them to want to leave the genre entirely or to just stop making music and keep their reputation at the high point that they left it at, rather than compromise their sound or their art to remain relevant. Before and after coming into this video, I found myself on the side of wanting artists to fade away, even though I think there are much better options. But sticking to the context of the video, I would prefer an artist fade away. One of the main arguments in the video was that artists should stop before they tarnish the legacy that they've created. Eminem, the Jay-Z's, Nas, Lil Wayne, just a bunch of people I feel that have made some really great music, some classics. Essentially in the video were saying that, maybe they should stop after a while, maybe they should burn out, maybe they should retire. Not them specifically, just artists in general who have a really good discography. The reason I find myself on the opposing side of that spectrum and would even like to present a different, interpretation is because, for one, fans like me even don't really see the bad in an artist's career. I mean, we do. We acknowledge that Eminem had, some of the more questionable parts in his career. I feel like after 2003, Eminem just didn't know where he wanted to go. I feel like he didn't know what to do with his art. And that's kind of what's led to the most recent single with Beyonce, Walk on Water, where Eminem is essentially trying to explain the fact that he's been aware of the criticisms of his work. And I think that's a little unhealthy. That's why I mentioned in that video how concerned I was for Eminem, because I don't want him to make music out of concern for people like us. I don't want him to make music trying to stay on the plateau that he was back in 2002, 2001, and before. I don't know if anybody really wants to accept that, but that single actually changed my perception of how I wanted to or how harshly I wanted to judge an artist's music, because after hearing that, I realized how unhealthy it is for artists to walk into the studio aware of the criticisms that they're receiving in the public. I don't think there's anything wrong with being aware, and I don't think there's anything wrong with knowing what people want, but I don't want to aid in the stress that an artist may have because I feel like their recent project isn't up to snuff with some of the more impactful music they've made in the past. I feel like a bit of a dick after hearing Eminem's most recent single, because now I'm looking at myself like, maybe you've been a little bit too harsh on these people. An artist shouldn't make music for me. I don't want them to make music with the thought of me enjoying it in the back of their mind. Art was originally supposed to just be done by the artist and put on display, and whoever liked it, whoever didn't. On the other hand, I feel like I want art and the people who are making the art to be looked at like life itself. Everything withers, everything fades, everything grows and ages, and the imperfections within things start to show up after a time. And in my opinion, music and rappers are not exempt from that. Nas's greatest album, Illmatic, is what got me even interested more so in hip-hop. Like, I knew about artists before that, but Nas is what really got me to want to listen to other parts of rap. For a long time, it shaped my standard as what I would define as a good hip-hop record, or in general what good rap music was to me. Something that at the time could influence my taste in my rap standard will never fade away. So we're at that point, okay? You understand the music and the messages never fade, but the artist does. Another thing to keep in mind is that most of the time, these artists aren't going to be looked at in a really negative way for releasing a pretty shoddy album or a pretty bad project, even if it's 4 or 5 albums deep. People are going to remember you at your best if your best was good enough. I don't care if Nas makes a trash album and comes out with it next year. I'm still bumping Illmatic. I'm still remembering what he did for me. It's the same thing with Jay-Z. It's the same thing with Kendrick. When I look at the rappers, I'm never looking at them as if they have to top what they did before or as if they have to stay on that same level, because, to be honest, you've already given me something that's helped shape my perspective of music. You've already given me something that I can take away from. So anything that you release after this that I don't like is just an experiment, in my opinion. I don't like it, but it's still music coming from someone who gave me something substantial in this genre. When I think of these artists, I'm thinking about them in their prime. Eminem isn't getting, praise right now for Recovery. He's getting praise for Slim Shady. He's getting praise for Marshall Mathers LP. Most of the people who are giving these rappers greatest of all time titles are giving it to them because they're remembering them in their prime, in their best stage. I think another thing to add to that is partially because of fans like me who hold multiple opinions on the subject, that people want artists to be realistic. People want artists to be a little bit more relatable. I remember they referenced Andre 3000 in their video, which is a really great example of someone who's given so much in terms of rapping talent that some people would like to see him keep going just to see him fall. Not because they're haters, but because they don't want to keep in their mind that this guy is just this amazing MC that can never make a mistake. They want to remember them in the most realistic form, and I'm a part of that spectrum, and I don't mind remembering Andre in his best stages, but for some people it makes sense for them to say this is just too good to be true. I need to see a realistic portrayal of this guy. I need to see him screw up, and if he does screw up, then that's okay. I don't really think anyone's looking at Andre 3000 to release just flawless music, and I wouldn't critique it too hard if he came out and it was something that I really didn't like. That's why I feel rappers should just be able to release the music that they want to release without the thought of the fans in mind. It's not like there are new projects that are coming out that are considered bad are going to taint anything that they released in the past. I also feel like the music should be a representation of you going through life. I don't want you to make your greatest hits and stop at age 30 and you significantly grow after that well into your 30s and your 40s and your 50s and you still want to release music. Like, that would be cool for me to see how you grow at that point, even if I'm in my kind of same age. Now, if he decided not to, that'd be fine, but if Kendrick said I'm gonna keep making music until I'm 60, I'd be so happy with that, because I don't mind seeing the music be a representation of his life. I don't mind seeing the music mirror his experiences. That's what I kind of want rap music to be, is a representation of the artist. And if they stop at a young age, or they stop before, I guess 40, I'm never gonna get to see that part, because I don't know them personally. You might be a big fan, so you might want to hear about them through their music. That's how people connect. And if they cut you off before then, it's like, fuck. Some of these artists have done some amazing things for the culture, some amazing things for the genre. And although there are some artists who've released music that is nowhere near the kind of music that they used to make, I feel the issue of rappers releasing so much bad music to the point where people will want to disconnect themselves from the artist is rare. Like, this rarely happens. Like, to the point where people stop listening to the music entirely because you've had a couple bad albums. That's rare. I don't even think I've seen that happen. It's close to being like a non-existent issue. Even though I know you guys are gonna give me some examples in the comment section. I highly enjoy, much like the rest of you, seeing an artist in their most truest form, and that form includes screwing up from time to time. I don't want to view you as this god that's so far away from the rest of us that I feel this insatiable desire to disconnect from your music entirely because you're not making music that's on par or better than the music that you used to make because of a stigma that I've placed on you. Pardon me for using the most basic analogies ever, but I'm about to do it. It'd be hard for me to disassociate myself from a rapper's music, much in the same way that it would be hard for you to disassociate yourself from your favorite basketball team if they lost in the playoffs 3 years in a row. I understand how you can have this rule of loyalty in regards to certain artists and not others, and I probably hold a very unpopular opinion in what I'm about to say, but if I've decided to support an artist and not just become a listener, okay? I listen to a ton of music. I know I don't always support it. I just don't feel like I have the right to decide at what point in your career I decide to show that support. It's like conditional loving. It's like telling my current girl, hey, you better get that body back in shape after you have our set of twins. I'm not having kids, by the way, but I'm just saying. Or it's like killing yourself before you turn 40 because you've accepted that you're never going to be as fast or as strong as you were when you were 21. I don't feel it's up to you, and like I said, this is unpopular opinion. Choose when you want to be a supporter of someone's music, especially if your artist of choice has shown that they're still dedicated to their craft and they're still, dedicated to making music. You can still be dedicated and make bad music. Kanye is a prime example of that. I get that there is a search for artists who are releasing a certain quality of music because nobody wants to support somebody who's literally shitting out material. Like, when you listen to the project, it stinks, figuratively and literally. But if that's not the case, I'm still bumping Good Kid, Mad City because of how much information it relayed to me and how much I connected to it. I never thought I would listen to an album that almost closely mirrored my angle on life when I was younger, like A Good Kid in a Mad City and To Pimp a Butterfly from Kendrick Lamar. Even if he drops his worst album next year, I'm still bumping Jay-Z's Blueprint and Black album because the feelings and thoughts they gave me while listening to it is something that will never fade away. That's why I'll always support certain artists, much like you guys in the comments, for reasons that you don't actually need to explain. You don't need to explain why you support an artist, okay? You should explain why you like their music, but you shouldn't have to explain why you support them. And to end this video off, I would just say my closing statement is, it's okay for rappers to fade away if the music that they make never does. I accept that rappers don't just stay at their best and they aren't making music to be remembered by me a certain way. That's just how I feel. Hey, but let me know how you guys feel in the comment section down below. Great video, like I said, by the way. Go check it out if you have not already. It'll be a link in the description. But yeah, this helped me. This helped me a lot. It's Shawn C. I'll see you in the next one. Hope you enjoyed the video. If not, yourself. Peace.